Hello and welcome to Hot Indonesia, your weekly vehicle for honest opinions. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here is this week's H-I Hotlist. Mixed signals, extending restrictions while loosening travel. What are we supposed to do? Mask manners, what is the legal guideline and what's simply respectful? And going gourmet, how stay-at-home has turned everyone into instant chefs. We chat with food expert Vindy Lee. Now, here are my co-hosts from their home sanctuaries. Sandrina Malakiano, former TV news anchor, now a political marketing consultant, and business leader Sandiaga Uno, former vice governor of Jakarta and vice presidential candidate. Okay, hot topic number one, mixed signals. Near lockdown guidelines in Jakarta to fight the spread of the coronavirus were supposed to end today, but the governor extended them for 2 more weeks. Anies Baswedan also re-emphasized that heading into the Idul Fitri holidays, everyone should just stay at home. But the air travel ban that had already been lifted earlier in the month, roads are getting noticeably busier. Confusing. Yes, I think so, because the different messages between local and national governments leave people not really sure what to do. But one thing is clear, the number of cases continues to rise in this country. What do we do, Sandrina?
What we really need right now, well, since the beginning actually, is a comprehensive grand plan. Because as you mentioned earlier, Dalton, it's really confusing. We've been getting conflicting messages and, well, the numbers did decrease, but it went up again. So I do agree that it isn't time to ease the restrictions yet. And it actually all depends on the people. It's quite surprising to see how the people in many cities in Jakarta, in many cities in Indonesia, including in Jakarta, how they have reacted. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the footage of how people ran in rushing when they opened the Ciledug Mall, or how they flocked at Pasar Tanah Abang just to buy clothes for Lebaran. Honestly, I don't get it. I don't know about Sandy.
Well, I think it has to be data-driven and has to be based on science. Governor Anies made the right decisions. I think we are going into hopefully the peak or near peak, the situations. We should not get ourselves ahead before the data will show us, and the medical team and teams of experts or doctors is pretty sure that we have passed the peak of COVID-19. Secondly, I think it has to be understood that no local mudix very clearly. So unless it is essentials, you stay home. So we need to make sure it's limited gatherings, and I'm quite perplexed as well. Looking at the streets is getting busier, and as if people are just not adhering to the measures. However, I am already talking to some of the leaders of government and business to create a plan on how post-June that we are to relax and to open the economy. First, look for the highest impact to the economy activities, the sectors with the lowest health risk, and this is something that we need to make sure. Would be the go zone, and the no-go zone is the activities with the highest health risk and very limited economic impact. So we need to have a plan, and this plan needs to, I agree with Sandrina, needs to be communicated by the top officials, which is now it's Gugus Tugas, which is the task force. So one clear guidelines and communicate it well. This is the only way to erase the confusion.
Yeah, well, what's confusing. The president says this, and then the governor of the capital says this, and that's what's leading people to rush out to the malls when they're not supposed to be. Now, for those outside of this country, Sandy, you mentioned mudik, which, if they're not familiar with the term, it's when people return to their homes, their hometowns, to visit with their family during the religious holidays. And you mentioned Governor Anis said not even local mudik, which means don't even travel within your own city, let alone going to your hometown. But that's a pretty hard ask. They're dying to get home, and I don't mean to use that as a pun, but maybe I do. They want to go home.
Yeah, they want to go home, and no public transportations. Governor Anis also mentioned that this is probably the final extensions, and hopefully by June 4th they're going to review if the numbers, if the medical team can be comfortable with the numbers, they're going to start the relax. So we need to be very, very vigilant. Don't start a new cluster. I was in few areas like Sunter, which is we have new clusters of people getting infected because they are not disciplined. They're not staying at home. And this is something that Hot Indonesia needs to convince people to stay home. Not even local going to see your parents within the same neighborhood.
What is being implemented in Jakarta is actually conflicting with what's going to happen in my city, the city of Tangerang Selatan, because the mayor has allowed a local mudik to happen during Idul Fitri. So who knows what's going to happen? They're not even speaking the same language between central and regional governments, even between Jakarta and the greater Jakarta areas, which are interconnected. So again, as I say, it all depends on the obedience of the people, because there are protocols that people need to abide to.
Okay, Sandy, one real quick economic question. As you know, the government announced its latest economic recovery package to begin this week, worth a value of $43 billion with help to businesses and state-owned enterprise. The biggest portion, $11 billion, goes to individuals. Did they get it right this time?
Well, they are in the right directions. They are on the right track, but the speed is something that we need to get them to accelerate. Step on the gas pedal, because if you don't move fast enough, some of these businesses will go into a permanent damage situations. They had to sell assets to increase liquidity, and they have to lay off people. So these packages that has just been introduced must be executed, and bureaucracy again is very notoriously known to be stifling even good decisions. So we need not only the right package, but actually the speed of how this package will be executed, and cash will be received by small, medium enterprises and by the household economy.
Hot Indo will continue shortly with mask manners. What is the law and what is the right thing to do? You're watching Hot Indonesia with Sandrina, Sandy, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, mask manners. Indonesia is not under a national lockdown. Local governments can decide restrictions that fit their problems. The wearing of masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19 is also a recommended practice with no penalty for not doing so. Private businesses can refuse entry without a mask, and you can't ride public transportation in Jakarta without a mask. Now, health-wise, we are told by the experts, a mask is designed to prevent someone who is infected from giving it to others. In these weeks, as we begin to loosen up, let's keep on being as compliant as possible, right, Sandrina?
Yes, one thing that we all need to accept is the fact that social distancing and mask wearing is here to stay, at least for quite some time, because it will take a long period of time for things to get better, for our country to recover from this COVID-19 storm, if we may say. So yeah, I do believe that it should be compulsory for people to wear masks in terms of protecting yourself and the people around you.
Even in the traditional markets where you wouldn't expect it, operators, we are seeing pictures are requiring masks when people are shopping for their vegetables and their meats, because you're in a potentially crowded space. Sandy, when we were in politics, you would visit all these places. I mean, that's a densely packed place. One person sick, everybody's sick.
Well, first of all, it is not only to protect yourself, but more so to protect others. And I've been to this very dense place. Luckily, people still recognize me even with mask. They know when I'm smiling or not. So, and this has been a very big boost for the SMEs because they start producing masks, and it has not just being a normal mask, but it's a fashion statement. So it goes from this very simple one. This mask is 4,000 rupiah, something like I don't know now, less than maybe 4
25
cents.
cents, 30 cents,
yeah. 30 cents. To more elaborate one, this is batik. This is batik is very famous now. It's a fashion statement. You love batik. So we have a mask that is batik. To Sandy Uno's mask. Now people now selling Sandy Uno mask. This is this is more expensive. This is close to 60 cents. And then we have the very expensive, which is close to $30 mask. This is actually 3 plies, and then it's leather. You look like somebody from a
Professional wrestling.
yeah, but now they have now morphed into a face shield. This is something that people now would be wearing outside. So I guess this is more like a norm. It's a fashion statement. It's I guess the next normal for years to come, and people just get used to it. But make sure you wash the mask because some of these masks are non-medical grades, and after 4 hours of use, you need to wash it and change it. So it's a new habits that you need to develop,
Sure, yeah.
and going out you cannot forget to wear mask now.
Fashion makes it a little more easier to take. Now let's talk about flying. Yeah, we've talked about this before, but you may have seen this quote in the media this past week. A sociology professor in the U.S. says, and his quote, "If someone doesn't wear a mask on an airplane, they should be arrested." Is that too harsh?
Yeah, I would basically put a warning and give a mask to them. Provide mask and charge them rather than arresting. They may have, it is something, something very new. So we need to educate and socialize more.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree with what Sandy has just said, because it's a small problem that you could easily overcome. Just provide a mask for them to use during flight and charge them for that. But it has to be compulsory.
Well, but some passengers on flights are refusing to wear them. And what can the airline do?
They shouldn't fly.
Yeah, they should not be allowed to board the plane, because as simple as that, it's like a new normal that you need to be wearing a mask.
Unfortunately, in places like the U.S., the wearing of a mask has become a political symbol now. When Donald Trump doesn't want to wear a mask while touring a mask factory, it sends, to me, the wrong signal. I say, don't think about politics. Don't think about politics. Do the right thing for your own health and the ones around you, as Sandy said. Correct?
Dalton, Donald Trump doesn't want to do a lot of things. So I don't think we shouldn't use him as a standard or an example. But here,
well, example of what not to do is what I'm saying.
That I agree.
If your government, Dalton, if your government making policy, it should be based on data. If medical experts said that masks greatly reduce the risk, you should wear masks. So if you're a leader of government, you need to lead by example. Secondly, it should be non-partisan. Take away the politics of it. Make sure that people from all levels are going to adhere to how medical experts is advising you. And making sure that, again, this is not something that you want to have your kids or your loved ones be doing. So make sure that you care for others, and this is something that government leaders need to do.
And we shouldn't
Exactly
see. We shouldn't
my
see.
point. Exactly my point. Okay. Got to move on. More Hot Indo is ahead. Going gourmet. Why the home kitchen is suddenly a busy place. We've talked with Vindy Lee. You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Here is hot topic number 3, going gourmet. Now, you see the social media postings every day now. Friends who never stepped in the kitchen before COVID-19 are now baking bread and sautéing salmon, and that's not a bad thing, helping everyone develop new skills and boosting family time. Vindy Lee is a food expert, chef, and blogger. She's at her home in Jakarta. Vindy, good to see you. Now, I'm sure it must be amusing for you to see it all the online attempts at cooking good and bad. How amused are you?
It is very fun, actually. I mean, this pandemic has affected us in all of us in some way, and that includes the food industry. A lot of our restaurants are closed now. Our favorite foods, we can't get them outside, and with the mandate of social distancing and lockdowns that we're practicing, we are now cooking more at home. And being stuck at home is sort of a necessity meets invention sort of thing, and we are going back really to our basic needs, appreciating basic necessities like having enough sleep, having enough food on our table, and being stuck at home and looking at the social media or watching TV. People are cooking more at home indeed. For instance,
yeah, Vindy, I mentioned baking bread. What other trends have you seen in the past?
Oh, I have seen simple drinks that's made from yogurt, for instance, because we're also now trying to put the health aspect of it. We are also making soups, we are making pizzas, and things from scratch. Basically, sourdough is a very big one right now. Sourdough, it's woof.
Really, sourdough bread? That sounds
sourdough
difficult.
bread. Very
Sandy,
simple, actually.
Sandy, have you gotten in the kitchen, and what cooking question do you have for Vindy?
I have not only stepped into the kitchen, but I took some cooking classes through the virtual
Very
online.
nice.
So the second times I did it, my wife Noor came in and said that, are you really wanting to learn how to cook, or you're more interested in the chef that is teaching you? So I have, I have some question for you, Vindy, and this is probably what would be, because I want to surprise Noor, what would be the easiest but looks very gourmet meal that I could prepare for her for this weekend, this Lebaran weekend?
Oh, when you think about planning a meal, you think about planning the protein first, because that's the most trickiest way of cooking. So maybe like a pan-seared fish with a nice lemon butter sauce and a nice tossed simple salad with some, cherry tomatoes, and just make it pretty. It's very simple presentation. Protein in the center, some salad at the side, and maybe a toasted bread. Cut it lengthwise. Maybe it looks more, luxurious in that way rather than the regular kind. I think she'll be impressed.
Wow, that's seared fish, Sandy. I think you can do that. Now, Sandrina has been lucky because her friends send her food every day. I see on her social media.
Oh,
she doesn't have to cook.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have asked the chef here a question about that you had in your mind in your kitchen.
As it's quite difficult for us now to go out often to buy groceries, and we want fresh food on table every day. Is there a way to keep our produce fresh longer if we have to keep it maybe in the fridge, or I don't know, you have any tips?
Yeah, sure. So, going to groceries right now, maybe from once a week, we're going to every other week, or even buying online. So let's say fresh vegetables, you can wrap them in wax paper, put them in plastic and a crisper compartment. So where you keep your foods is very important as well, because your refrigerator is designed like so, to put where you put your fruits and where you put your milk. I would not advise to put eggs on the door, because you keep regulating, the temperature keeps going up and down, it keeps fluctuating. Keep your eggs at the back of the fridge and keep fruits fresh. for example, strawberries, don't wash them before you eat them because they're going to turn to mush. Other than that, if you want your bananas to ripen quicker rather than, slower, you can put an apple in it. And I actually have a banana. I have a banana tip for you. Thank you for the question. So I do have, if I may grab, a banana here. Now everybody has bananas, right? And this would be a pretty ripe bananas already. But to prevent it from going ripe quickly, you wrap this stem part of it with saran wrap and tape, and then you store it by hanging it just like so, not on a plate or so this is one of the tips that you can do as well. And Dalton, you mentioned that everybody is baking bread right now, and actually banana bread is one of the more popular recipes right now because everybody has bananas all year round, and we always have some ripe brown banana somewhere. So I have made a delicious banana bread right here. Very simple. This is a viral recipe right now. Just one big bowl. Mix everything in. You don't even need a mixer. Put it in the oven. Forget about it. Delicious comfort food is what everybody is looking for right now.
Vindy Lee, food expert, chef, and blogger, thanks very much. And we're waiting for the banana bread. Yeah. It is feedback time now, folks, and of course we love hearing from you. We'll send you a t-shirt if we read your email on the air. Tome posted this on the Instagram page of our partner TV1. If we followed Vietnam's steps, Indonesia would be free of COVID-19 by now. Well, their early and strict containment did help that country tremendously. Prevention always better than the cure. And all the way from the United Kingdom, Omar wrote this on Instagram. You do good shows. I benefit a lot from your economic issues. Well, thank you, Omar. Please let others know about us in the UK. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment to our Hot Indonesia channel or TV1, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words now from Sandrina.
Yes, we're now approaching the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Idul Fitri is just around the corner, and surely this is going to be totally a different kind of Idul Fitri for all Muslims around the world. But hey, we have to still remain grateful with what we have and make this a perfect moment for everybody to help others around us, support them, and make it a good time for them to celebrate and welcome Ramadan with welcome Idul Fitri, with a smile on their faces. And from me, I would like to say Happy Eid Mubarak. May God give us all happiness and prosperity ahead.
Final words from Sandy.
This Ramadan and Idul Fitri will be a very different Idul Fitri because we're fighting a pandemic. Stay healthy, stay safe, and please put your thoughts and prayers, and if you could support the frontline workers, the health care professionals, the doctors, nurses, and do something positive so that they feel appreciated. Happy Eid Mubarak, and may Allah give us a lot of blessings and forgive our mistakes, and we're born again and become a much greater person and to be great nations.
Right, and good wishes to all faiths, no matter who you worship. Okay, now, in my final words, a friend asked me this the other day. She said, when you're tired of it all, what do you do? I suppose she was frustrated with the virus, work, and other issues. She went on, my spirit for life is going down. I told this normally happy person that business is just business, that more important is good health and taking care of your family. Get a good night's sleep, I said, and wake up fresh for the new day. That's about all you can do. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandrina Malakiano and Santiago Uno, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you for joining us. Have a nice holiday weekend, and see you next time.